Breaking news to bring you now. In the storm surrounding FIFA's contentious plan to sell stakes in its competitions, including the World Cup, to private investors. Well, our sports correspondent Rob Harris is on the phone. Rob, what more do you know?
Sky News can reveal that one of Gianni Infantino's most trusted advisors, Carlos Cordeiro, has quit this morning in protest at the plans to sell off stakes in the World Cup. This is a bombshell. Infantino losing one of his closest allies, someone who's been so close to him for 5 years. And Mr. Cordeiro is not just a former leader of US soccer, he's also a former chairman of Goldman Sachs Bank. So he's very heavily involved in the banking world, and he is aghast at these plans by Mr. Infantino. This will put increasing pressure on how Infantino can potentially stay in power. This is part of the statement released exclusively by Carlos Cordeiro to Sky News announcing his resignation. He said, "As a senior advisor to the FIFA president, a former banker and a lifelong football fan, I cannot stand by while FIFA considers selling a stake in the World Cup. Let me be clear, I had no involvement in this proposal and I oppose it unequivocally. It is a bad deal for FIFA member associations, a bad deal for football, and a bad deal for the long-term future of the game. Football has been central to my life, and after more than 35 years in banking, I understand both the value of this asset and the consequences of giving part of it away. That is why this proposal should be rejected." And that is a damning statement from someone so close to Gianni Infantino. He's been alongside him, meeting Donald Trump in the build-up to the World Cup, integral to the preparations for the tournament that's just been happening all around the world. Carlos Cordeiro's travels with Infantino. The fact he's lost one of his closest advisors will be cutting to Gianni Infantino. As a reminder of these plans, $20 billion. They said this new venture would be worth to sell off the commercial rights, looking to sell 20% of it off, about $4 billion to private investors. Well, Carlos Cordeiro is saying that this is just not good value, and FIFA just overnight had tried to defend the process. Infantino's organisation saying there is a consultation still, even though these plans have been so well advanced that Sky News revealed yesterday they already had plans to receive the cash in October. Well, I mean, it is a very long statement we have received, and what Carlos Cordeiro also says is that this proposal has become a defining question for FIFA's future. After careful consideration, I can no longer continue my role, he said, and that's why he's resigning. And he says this is a message to the rest of the game, that he hopes that the rest of the world of football speaks up now too. He says that decisions of this magnitude should be made in the interest of football and not those who stand to profit from it. And he's talking in this very detailed statement about the lack of economic aptitude from this plan from Gianni Infantino, and talking a bit like many of the members, like UEFA have said, like the Asian and North American confederations, about the lack of detail. And what Carlos Cordeiro says about these plans are, most troubling of all is the absence of answers to fundamental questions. Why this deal? Why now? What oversight exists? Who benefits? Was there a competitive process? What governance will be in place? What investors ultimately gain? And at what cost to football? These questions remain largely unanswered, and yet member associations are being asked to make a decision of enormous consequence in barely 50 days or risk being left behind. That is not a responsible way to determine the future of the world game. And that is saying that Gianni Infantino is not acting responsibly at all. So this is a damning indictment on the leadership of Gianni Infantino, who often complains about the media critics. A FIFA statement overnight claiming that media reports misconstrued this World Cup sell-off. This is not a football association, it's not UEFA, who are often at loggerheads with FIFA. This, we have revealed, is Gianni Infantino's most senior advisor, Carlos Cordeiro, quitting in protest at Gianni Infantino's attempts to sell off part of the World Cup. And this adds to the fact UEFA have said they'll boycott the World Cup if FIFA continues with these plans. The Asian Confederation just this morning as well saying that they reject the plans. Now more than half of the world's FAs are rejecting them. The question now, with Gianni Infantino losing his closest advisor, Carlos Cordeiro, what does it mean for the future of Gianni Infantino to survive in a position? I've already reported, having heard people telling me that Gianni Infantino is rapidly losing the support of world football, and now he's lost his most senior advisor.